So hello. We're back. A fifth day. Excuse me. Fifth day, considering the Pāramīs, the perfections. What a wonderful week of practice. Yeah, this path of the perfections. It's it's remarkable in a very specific way. Um, and that is that there are an array of trajectories. You can develop any one of these 10 qualities and sort of move your practice or be moved by your practice in a certain direction. And this writing by Dhammapala that we're studying this week is pretty fascinating in its period of Buddhist history and the way that it brings together actually different currents of understanding. So it feels like a privilege and a real joy to get to spend a week in this territory. So let's begin with gratitude, and let's move into sitting. In the spirit of our theme for the day, which is Mettā and Upekkha, loving kindness and equanimity, we'll do a simple practice that I'm going to call mindful Mettā. We'll mostly do our familiar mindfulness practice for the first long while, and then at a certain point in the sitting, switch to loving kindness practice. So, let's begin. Beginning with a pause. Just pausing our activities and involvements inside and outside. Finding ourselves here, seated, reclining, standing, however it is you're meditating. And finding ourselves here with this body, in this body, with this body. Maybe a few deep breaths to strengthen the connection between attention and embodiment. tuning our energy to stay present, to clearly know this moment of experience, now this. alert, clearly knowing as we breathe in, alert and clearly knowing, breathing out. Just to know this moment for now is enough. Now making a gentle transition with as little inner movement as possible. A transition to loving kindness practice. It can be as simple as wishing well-being for yourself, for someone who is dear to you. Little shift in inner posture, feeling the wish for their well-being. As this Friday sitting comes to a close, that wish for well-being, conditioned by mindfulness, may that wish extend in all directions. May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be safe. And may all beings everywhere know the ease of liberation. Hmm. So again, welcome to our 5th day on the Pāramīs, the perfections. As I mentioned, I'll attempt to have a shorter talk about Mettā and Upekkha so that we have time for your comments and questions. I think as a Sangha, we learn so much about this practice by hearing about or reading, in this case, about the experience of others doing similar practices. So we'll get to that at the end, along with a couple of announcements. So Mettā and Upekkha. I have heard that the Buddha's physician, Jivaka, was asked what the Buddha was like. And Jivaka, this is a person who knew the Buddha closely. You know, how well does your doctor know you? And when asked, what is the Buddha like, dear physician? He described the Buddha's Mettā, the Buddha's loving kindness. And isn't that something? It wasn't, Jivaka wasn't saying, oh, you know, he is the wisest. He gives the best advice. He's so calm, or he frowns a lot. But no, it was his Mettā. It was the Buddha's heartfulness that came through. And I like to think of Mettā as an expression of everything that the Buddha had cultivated for years. So these last two Pāramīs, Mettā, loving kindness, and Upekkha, equanimity. Here we're talking about loving kindness as a wish, and it's a wish to provide for the welfare and happiness of beings and the world. It can show up as benevolence, peaceful action, beneficial action. And equanimity, we're talking about the attitude of impartiality toward what's desirable and undesirable, both beings and thoughts. Impartiality. So let's start with Mettā. And Mettā is a wish. It's an attitude. Doesn't it take some practice? Don't we have these inclinations toward the opposite? And aren't those so ready So regular practice, the causal basis, the condition we can put in place for the arising of metta traditionally is reflecting on the goodness of others. So we can do this deliberately. We can incline the mind to reflect on the goodness. Oh, wow, this person did something so kind. Oh, wow, this person said something that had such and such an effect. It's inclining the mind to reflect on goodness. And then there are options for regular practice. Of course, at IMC, here we have happy hour, this wonderful Sangha with Nikki Mirgafori. And then I know a couple of teachers who do metta at night before going to sleep. They lay down in their bed, and rather than having the mind wander, they direct it. They direct it to, may this being be happy. May this being be happy. And metta can really develop as a concentration practice. It can deeply unify the mind. And how wholesome that is to unify the mind around the wish for well-being for others. Loving kindness is also, it's one of these practices that I guess most or all of our practices are this way, but it's an internal practice that becomes external. We cultivate these inclinations, and then they start showing up in our menu of actions, where the options we have for response, the things we get to select from, start to have this little touch of metta. The mind inclines to benefit others. In this kind of way, metta is known as an abiding, an abode, a place where we can live, a place we can live inside when we're concentrated on the well-being of others, and a place we can live in this world of metta when we offer it. It's said to soften and to moisten the heart. So in very brief, metta nourishes the heart, it brightens and steadies the mind. And as such, it supports the development of equanimity, because when we're so fed by goodness, that we're less susceptible to the vicissitudes, the ups and downs, the pleasures and pains, the praises and blames. If metta softens our heart to the world, I'll say equanimity stays intimate without losing balance. So a few words on equanimity, sometimes called equipoise. It's this attitude of impartiality towards what's desirable and undesirable. Again, both people or other beings and our thoughts. I think it's the last of the Pāramīs for good reason. Sometimes it's called the crown jewel of emotions in Buddhist practice. It was certainly mastered by the Buddha, who was so full of heart. But it's infused with everything that we've practiced before. In my own thinking, I sometimes consider one who is equanimous as someone who is self-possessed. That rather than being pulled and pushed around by either circumstances on the outside or the impulses toward greed and hatred and delusion on the inside, instead of being pulled and pushed around by those conditions, we're self-possessed. We have this abiding of loving kindness and equanimity and balance. And an important note, because this often comes up, equanimity does not mean heartlessness. It doesn't mean cutting oneself off from connection with the world. Right? There can be this understanding of equanimity where we think it's like I'm impartial to the world because I don't care, and I don't experience it that way. Rather, it's a sort of freedom amidst conditions that arises from clear seeing. One of the alternate words for equanimity in Pali translates to standing in the middle of all this. peace in the midst of all this. And again, I think equanimity is last on the list. In part, maybe because we've already established this number of wholesome ways of being connected with beings and with thoughts and with this world. We've generated the connection of virtue and generosity and renunciation and wisdom. We're closer to other beings through our energy and patience, our truthfulness and resolve. And then the intimacy of metta. All of this goes into our equanimity. It's not becoming a zero. So this is also expressed in the fact that the condition that we cultivate to support the growth of equanimity, it's not ignoring, it's wisdom. It's clear seeing. So in very brief, metta and upekkha. I'd like to say as we close, maybe we have the sense that this Pāramī practice is a lot to remember. 10 qualities, a lot of do's and don'ts. I hope I took some good notes. But really, it can be quite simple. It can be three things. This wish for the benefit, the welfare, and the liberation of ourselves and others. Just a wish. Along with our compassion, our care for others. And then our commitment to skillfulness. Skillful means, in this situation right now, what's the most skillful response? So our aspiration, our care, and our skillfulness. Just that simple. All of the Pāramīs, such beautiful qualities. Yeah. I think maybe if we take up the practice of the Pāramīs, it could be that all of our work is not evident to other people. No one we know out there is walking around with a checklist like, oh yes, their generosity and their patience and their energy. Maybe all that other people will register is, oh, that person is kind. That person cares. Maybe they will just feel our metta, like jivaka. And maybe that's enough. So the perfections. A path from right where we are to right where we are with full freedom. Wondrous. So for the welfare and the benefit of all beings, may we endeavor patiently, persistently, generously, wholeheartedly, and with a heart full of love and a mind of clear wisdom. May it be so. So I'd love to transition to some questions or comments you have. We have just a few minutes, and I have a few minutes to stay after, but during this little bit of YouTube lag, I'll make these announcements. First, on Sunday, May 21st, there'll be the Mindful Parents class for parents and children of all ages, parents of children with children of all ages. It's at IMC in Redwood City from 11 to 12:15, and it's a new program. And then the second thing, Sunday potluck at IMC. First one since before the pandemic. That's pretty amazing. May 28th at 11 a.m. after Gil's Dharma talk. So please, if you're available and interested, avail yourselves. So let's see. A question. How to be equanimous with dukkha arising? Yeah, thank you very much. That's right when equanimity matters, doesn't it? How to be equanimous with dukkha arising. Two doorways occur to me. One is to trust awareness, our simple mindfulness practice. One of the manifestations of equanimity can be just that when the dukkha arises, we don't grab on. We don't grab on and get pulled along. And then the other manifestation is wisdom. And that is also through our mindfulness practice to clearly know the dukkha itself, its arising, its conditions, its effect on us in terms of body, attitude, and then pay careful attention to when the dukkha lets go. It won't last forever. So keeping an eye on this process, that's one doorway. That's a wisdom doorway. Thank you for the question. And we'll see if anything else comes up. Oh, this is great. Looks like ISC is celebrating Asian American Pacific Islander Buddhist practice, Sunday, May 28th. Wonderful, wonderful. Some appreciations coming through. I hope this time has been nourishing. May it be of benefit. Yeah, maybe for now we are complete. Well, Dharma friends, thank you for this week of practice. I hope to do this again with you sometime soon. Please take very good care of yourselves.